What's going on, y'all? It's Joe from Petty Fixes and welcome back to the channel. Today we're going to talk a little bit more about the Enermax NeoChanger. Now, it's the pump res combo that was sent to me a while back, which I did a review on, which you can find in the card above. And I want to talk a little bit more about it since I've actually got it installed and up and running and everything for the last few days. I want to talk about a couple, I ain't gonna call them issues, but a couple of little negligence and stuff like that you know, some people may notice, some little nagging issues that some people may pick about, but I'm not one to really pick about stuff like that because I know that they have rectified, they found a solution for the issues that some people may experience and some people may complain about. So with that said, guys, let's go ahead and jump into it. The Enermax NeoChanger. This is one of those products that when you first see it, you're just like, oh my god, I gotta have it. It has the RGB lighting that a lot of people want. It also has a different look that most reservoirs don't come with nowadays. The thing about this reservoir is once it's added to your case and actually in your loop, it definitely spices up the case a lot, on top of adding a little bit of flair that most people will not get with other reservoir pump combos. Since I've had this, it's been running really strong. The noise isn't all that bad from the pump. It's not as loud as the stories I've actually heard from other manufacturers' pumps and everything, so I'm pretty proud about that. Another thing about it is I love all the functions that you have with the remote control and the lighting effects and everything. Coupled with the RGB strip, you can definitely add a lot of effects to your case, lighting effects that you just can't miss out on. The remote control was pretty much a good inclusion, and my time having it, I found out a lot of things about the remote control. Now, if you have another RGB remote control that controls like lights or anything like that, I do notice that those remote controls actually can control some of the functions of the pump, and it's kind of weird, so make sure you keep your other remote controls away from the pump. It does have a lot of features, so that's up to you to explore. Okay, so what I'm doing here is I'm actually getting the microphone as close as I possibly can to the NeoChanger. What I'm going to do is I'm going to start it out at its lowest setting, and then I'm going to raise it incrementally to its highest setting and let you judge the distance and noise and the differences in noises. So here it is on its lowest setting right here. It's at about 1500, and that's the lowest setting that it can go to. Now I'm going to step it up to the 2000 setting and see if you can hear any difference. As you can see, there's not much of a difference at all. So let's go ahead and bump it up another step to 2500. Now this is 2500. There's not much of a change in anything. It is actually above 2500, about 200 RPM above it. So let's go ahead and bump it up to 3000. Now at this point, I don't know why it does it, but it actually boosts above 3000, almost close to 3500 actually. So it's about between 3390 and 3420, as you can see. But the whirl of the pump does start to become apparent at this stage. So, but it's not very audible actually. As a matter of fact, my case fans are almost just as loud as this thing is. So let's go ahead and bump it up to 4000 and see where it sits at, or 3500, I'm sorry, and see what happens. Now at this speed, the pump noise is definitely apparent. You can hear it, but if you're not one to really care about acoustics like that, it won't bother you, but it's definitely noticeable. Let's bump it up to 4000. This is the loudest setting that it goes to. Now it's saying 4500 on here. I don't know why, but my remote control, I'm definitely pressing the buttons, but what's going on is it's sitting about 4500, but on the remote control it says 4000. As you can see, it is at its fastest point. The water is actually not turbulent at all, and the pump noise is definitely apparent. I can probably hear it from about 5 or 6 feet away. I can definitely hear it over my case fans. But if you got everything in your system just going full blast you ain't gonna hear the pump over the case fans. My case fans get pretty loud, and you'll definitely notice the pump speed and the pump fans and the fans in the case going. But you know, for me, it's not a big deal if I'm trying to keep my system cool. But for all of you all wanting to know, you can definitely hear the pump noise. The pump does get, you know, fairly loud and fairly noticeable for the most part. Let's dial it back down to 1500 so you can hear what it sounds like when it's going down. It's now back at its lowest setting, and it's still pretty quiet. So my case fans are actually louder than this. So what if you're hearing any noise at all, it's my case fans. I'm going to ramp it all the way back up to 4500 to show you exactly what it sounds like once it's ramped back up. And there it goes from 1500 to 4500, and that's the loudest it's going to get. So yeah, as you can see, as far as acoustics go, it's not all that terribly loud. I've heard much louder pumps than this that are weaker than this. And Enermax has did a good job at providing us with a good pump, a good solid strong pump on top of that, that comes in fairly quiet for what it is. Okay, so what's the takeaway from the Enermax NeoChanger? The main two things you should probably think about when wanting to purchase something like this will probably be the price and the features. Now, when it comes to price, my particular NeoChanger was $129.99, I think, if I'm not mistaken. It's the 300 milliliter version. Enermax sent it to me for review, so I obviously didn't have to pay for it, and they were gracious enough to let me use it in my custom loop build. Now, the price is relatively good, especially for the features. Excuse that, whatever that was. It's my computer going off, but the price is relatively good. Now, I've seen like $160, $170 pump res combos from other companies who I won't name that are outrageously expensive. Now, granted, they may have a D5 pump on them, but this pump is actually really good for what it is. It's pretty quiet, and it ramps up to a pretty high speed also, and it stays quiet while doing so. It offers optimal flow for your components as well to keep all your components cool. I haven't had any issues with temps since I've had this running. Now, the other thing I want to talk about is another maybe glaring issue that some people may overlook and some people won't overlook, and that is PWM control. It doesn't have PWM control, but they actually rectified that by bundling in a remote control. The remote control offers the different variable speeds from 1500 RPM all the way up to 4500 RPM. So that for me is not a deal breaker. I saw that when actually making my decision on this and reaching out to Enermax for a review unit, and I wanted to test it out to see how efficient it was, and actually it's a pretty good solution. Now, some people want the PWM control, but me, I look at it and I'm like, why? Why have the PWM control when you have to open up an app to control, or for your motherboard controls, go in and fiddle around with a bunch of buttons and settings and stuff like that while inside the app, when you can just press a button on the remote and it goes to the speed that you want it to go to. It's simple, you know, it's very, very simple. Also, another thing, it has 150 RPM steps that you can adjust the speed in as well. So if you don't want to adjust it by 1000, 2000 RPM at a time, adjusting 150 RPM steps, and there you go. That's it. Fine tune it the way you want it. If it's too loud for you at one, just step it down 150 RPM, and that's it. That's all you have to do. But those are the two main issues that I've even found with the Enermax NeoChanger. Other than that, it's a damn good product. Enermax definitely has stepped it up when it comes down to it. So guys, that's my takeaway from this. And with that said, I'm gonna go ahead and end this video. If you all like what I'm doing, drop me a like, subscribe to my channel. This is Joe from Petty Fixes, and I'm out.